wanna take the chance to get out on the town.
Hello and a warm welcome here at ServiceNow. It's not ServiceNow Live, but it's another great format we have here. It's an event, it's a fireside chat covered from the talent outreach and engagement team. And I'm very happy that we have someone special here today with us, and special in different ways. Not just that I had the honor of hiring her and working with her as a recruiter, but also to follow her path at ServiceNow, and also curious because she has kind of a non-traditional background and still being in the tech industry. So we will have a look at this today. But I don't want to take that much away. Over to you, Tatjana. If you could give us a short intro about yourself, and looking forward to our conversation. Thanks for your time.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you for inviting me. And might I still congratulate you on a wonderful hiring decision you did a few years back.
Thank you.
It's been a blast. It's been really a wonderful journey. But first of all, who am I? Tatjana Glass, my name. I think we're going to go into the details of the development, my career development a bit later. I started as a solution consultant with ServiceNow, and now I have the big pleasure to manage the team, general business industry in ServiceNow. So this is the most recent development, and I'm still really, really happy about it. Personally, engaged, 2 kids, no dogs. So these are the most important things, but really happy to be here. So.
Perfect. No, thank you for Tatjana for the quick intro. And I think it just has happened recently, right? I think March, so not that long ago.
I still can't really wrap my head around it, but I'm very much looking forward to work with my team.
Perfect. No, but congrats again. And as mentioned, personally speaking, I think that's quite a good example how it could go, right? But as you also mentioned, we will dig deeper into it a little bit later on in our conversation to really, trying to understand how and if and all the good things, all the good perspectives. Maybe let's start quite from the beginning, right? Let's go back to your background in terms of study. As we already mentioned that you have quite an untraditional background into tech, I think that was quite the starting point, wasn't it?
Oh, it was. And everyone is still surprised when I tell them that I majored in political science in university. So not really anything tech related, but to be fair, looking at the current tech innovations that we have, like with ChatGPT and artificial intelligence, I think my studies give me the best start ever, because when you study political science, the biggest focus that you have is take what other people say and examine it, examine it for both its use and its truth in the setting that you're working in. So that definitely also goes for artificial intelligence and ChatGPT. But basically, political science, a minor in psychology, which helped both to survive and to grow.
Yeah.
No, but honestly, I wasn't during my studies. I wasn't that tech savvy to begin with. So this grew also in the time or during the time that I spent studying. And the one thing that I learned rather early is that you don't get around IT. So independent of what you do, you always have an IT connection. Even when I was working at the university, going to the library, getting the books for my professors and teachers, and in some cases copying them, you always need a network connection, you need an account, you need to have the interface to the services of the library, for example, so you don't get around IT. And I started to look into the topic a bit. So I also had friends around me within the IT department that helped, of course. But the interest, how all those system services and in the end also devices were connected by IT, that was really interesting for me. So that was also my starting point to get into the IT world. And well, basically after successfully passing or getting my degree in political science, the one thing that you then start doing is looking for a job. And it was not as easy to stay in the field of political science as it was to turn my head around and go into the IT direction. So I started off as an IT project manager. And that basically gave me the kickstart that I needed to become successful in the IT environment.
And you're still smiling after, yeah, probably.
Years and
Oh,
years.
yeah. Yeah. Great that you jumped in because mine would have been a little bit different. No, but really, really great. If you reflect on it, right, and if you remember back at the time, I mean, how was it for you having a study or kind of education that not necessarily led the way into tech? How was the transition kind of, or also the start into tech in your project manager role?
Um, I'd say it was a mixture of difficult and easy. Because difficult, of course, you're suddenly confronted with all this technical background, with the knowledge that you should have but don't have. But easy in a sense, as I said, you don't get around IT. It's everywhere. Independent of which area you're looking into, you always have your touch points. And that helped because on the one hand, I had the requirement to have all this theoretical knowledge of, I don't know, network plans, how servers are working, how services are being done, how performance is driven within services, for example. But then again, easy because you had all those relatable examples in the background. So it wasn't just that I started doing another IT studies or something on a theoretical level, but I was always able to immediately put it to use and put it to good use. I mean, in project management, maybe you can imagine one of the biggest challenges is not doing something yourself because you're the project manager. You should, plan and monitor and manage that other people do the work. But the biggest challenge really was understanding what my team wanted to tell me and tell them if it's the right direction or not. And even more so with external providers or vendors, understanding if what they were telling me is working or is not working or has to be done differently, if that actually makes sense. So that was the challenge, and that helped me also to get into that language, into that IT universe. And I think since then, I think I've done pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, you're still with ServiceNow, right? But we will jump into that later. I don't want to take that away. But just to add on your point, right? I mean, we have heard now what your study background was or educational background. And you also mentioned that you had a psychology part. What would you say? What important or maybe not important role was it for the change or for going into a different industry? How did that help you?
I think stay curious. That's always the same. I mean, let's be honest. Most of us don't really have an idea what their life will be looking like once they finish their studies. So you go into your first job, you start working, you get a grasp of how businesses are running. But a lot of people are a bit surprised how that world really looks from the inside. And I think the thing that I took from my studies is basically that there's always books I haven't read. There's always topics I haven't discussed yet. There's always new things to learn and new things to explore. And both political science as well as psychology taught me that that's not an obstacle. That shouldn't keep you from anything, but rather go ahead and explore. And I think that curiosity I still kept alive. I'm proud to say it's getting more difficult to keep it alive. But you see it in the technology world. There's always new things that come onto the market or come to the customer. I mean, I already mentioned ChatGPT. Some people knew it 2 years back, but not many. And now, like, everyone's talking about that and everyone's using it, be it in private life or within a professional setting. So this is something, always stay curious, always look around the corner and see what comes next. But I think we will be talking about that also a bit later on. Always keep, your own road map ahead of you.
Yeah, no. I mean, I can relate to it. Having this mindset, this approach to learning, and the curiosity, which is kind of the basis for learning, then, right? For personal growth and personal development per se, this is just a game changer. Yeah, totally. Really, really glad to see it with you. Maybe on that note, then, how did your career in tech evolve then? Starting as a project manager in IT, and what was coming next?
Next, actually, came a job change. I wanted to, explore different companies. So my first company, I stayed for, I think, 2.5 years as project manager. It was HR related. So it was a software that was mainly taking care of recruitment and HR management. And I wanted to explore other topics. So I decided I want to stay in IT, but I want to explore other topics. So I switched my company. I switched my employer. And the fun part here was, and that actually kicked me in the butt, to be fair, but that also, propelled me forwards in the end, was that I started in a European-sized company in the project management office. And I think 3 months in, they said they don't need the project management office anymore, so they shut it down. And suddenly I was there 3 months into a new job. You can imagine, still in the trial phase.
Yeah.
And suddenly again looking for a job. And I was very lucky that parallel to the project management office in the IT infrastructure, so really deep down in the IT, there was a job opening as a service owner, and I applied for it because I thought, I decided IT. I want to stay at this company. I thought very long and hard about this company. I want to stay here. So I applied for the job, and I was really lucky to get it. Admittedly, though, I was not convinced that I would get it during the interview because they asked me plenty of things about network devices, switches, printers, connections, and I don't think...
Let me jump into it, Tatjana. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I'm really curious. I mean, you just mentioned that you had doubts, right? But what made you applying anyway?
Both sides, actually. Once I like IT, I realized that during my first 2 years, I really like IT. I really liked the company. I decided for that company I wanted to stay. And, once you have found something that you think, that's me, I want to stay, or I want to develop in that direction, you kind of fight for it. And that's always the best. When you get the feeling like, this is worth it, I want to do that, I want to stay there, then start fighting. And usually when you start fighting, you will get your way.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very powerful message, right? When I think about it, it's not just saying, okay, I fight for it, I will find a solution whatsoever, but from a psychology perspective, then what kind of, what it does, what kind of impact it has on your mental side.
Yeah.
Because you have to be mentally in the right place to be able to fight, right? So that's very, very interesting.
Yeah, but if you find something that you want to do, you find the passion, and the most important thing is just not be deterred by it. Like, okay, there's maybe they need more IT knowledge, so I'm not going to apply because I don't have that IT knowledge. But once, and this is something that I also see as an employer, once you go into an interview or go into a discussion like this, and you just show you have the drive, you have the passion, that makes you so much more attractive on the employer market than someone who has all the knowledge but says like, it's okay, it's just going to be another stint of 2 years before I change my job again. So always find your passion and show it. That's the most important advice I think I can give.
Yeah. So usually it's for the end to ask, okay, what's your most important advice? But you talk it up front. Really happy about that.
We can repeat afterwards.
Yes. So the thing is, then also you were working for. How did you get in touch with ServiceNow anyway, in the first place?
Oh, that's a wonderful question, because the company that I was working for then in the infrastructure, they were taking care of service desk, infrastructure services, user access management, request management for all of Europe. But admittedly, it sounded like it was one shared service for all of Europe, but it was a lot of smaller kingdoms in the middle, and they all had their own tools, their own processes, etc. So I myself, I was looking at the solutions that are possible, and I found ServiceNow. At one point, I simply found ServiceNow. You don't get around ServiceNow much these days anyway. So even then, I found ServiceNow, and I was trying to get into ServiceNow, like broad platform. It's huge. It's really, really big. So teaching yourself what ServiceNow actually does and how it's all connected. not the easiest task ahead. I can already tell you that. But once you get the benefits, the value that ServiceNow brings, I was really starting to lobby within my employer that we need a tool like a platform like ServiceNow to connect all those little kingdoms. And I did that for, I think, like 4 years, around about 4 years, in the beginning, a bit smaller and a bit shy, but then it started to take on because I was able to convince more and more colleagues of the value of ServiceNow. And in the end, I think the last 1.5 years, I was able to lead first an analysis project to really look at ServiceNow in more detail, and then also an RFP, request for proposal, with ServiceNow to see how can we start working with ServiceNow. And that made me really a platform enthusiast. So I was so happy to see also from ServiceNow the presentations, the demonstrations, what ServiceNow can do. And I was really, really happy about it. But by that time, I was working at my company for 10 years. And I thought like, okay, maybe it's time to, go out and explore again. And my account executive from ServiceNow contacted me for a completely different topic. And I told her that I was thinking about leaving. And she said, like, you know what? Come to ServiceNow. I was like, why didn't I think of that?
Oh, yeah.
No, seriously, I was considering jobs in the ServiceNow area, but at other companies. I did not consider ServiceNow itself at that point. So she referred me basically to you. We had the interview. You convinced me even more so of the team and the culture and just the amazing universe that is ServiceNow.
Yeah, but Tatjana, let me jump in for that, because I can't remember. It was a hard discussion, 60 minutes plus, and it was, I was sweating.
You were? Oh, glad to see I made an impact.
Yeah. More than you think.
No, but I know once I started with ServiceNow, so the decision was made. I started with ServiceNow, and since then I'm just super happy. So I mean, from technology, I don't have to tell you much. It's just an amazing platform. But what even convinced me more is really the team and the culture. So it's amazing to work at ServiceNow, and you see that in my background, like.
Yeah. For people, I mean, the audience doesn't know it, right? But we were jumping a little bit earlier to this webinar, and then it was. I just said, Tatjana, the background describes your personality when you are at ServiceNow, like a bam, in a positive way, of course. But yeah, no, really interesting. I mean, to make it a little bit more clearer, right? So you have been at a company who was using ServiceNow. So basically, you were working for a client of ServiceNow, right? How was the transition then? It's also interesting that you didn't think about it in the first place, joining ServiceNow, but a different company who is using ServiceNow probably. So how was it for you then moving from a client kind of to a vendor to ServiceNow?
Yeah, maybe one comment beforehand, because that goes in the same direction. What I didn't realize at that point was that I had my own blinders on. So I was, as you said, looking for a different company using ServiceNow. But that's something that, well, I definitely got an eye opener once I switched sides. But that's also something that maybe is good to keep in the back of your head. You always have blinders on. So sometimes it's good to just, open them a bit and have a peek. But basically, yeah, there was another kick in the butt. But in this time only literally, figuratively. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Figuratively, because it's a different universe. When you're on client side, you mainly have your focus, like, of course, internally. I mean, service desk, access management, request management, that were mainly internal services. So I had a lot of contact to my colleagues, to their managers, to the CIOs of the different kingdoms. But it was mainly internal. I had quite a bit of contact to vendors outside, but you deal with your professional life differently when you're on the client side. And when I turned around and started working for ServiceNow, I suddenly saw how that interaction is from the other side. So you have a very open setup. Not surprisingly, but really at the very beginning already, because you're not just looking internally at who's doing what, but really you have different customers. Or in my case, I have a lot of different customers. And the fun part really is everyone's having their own universe. So it's like you have universe A, customer A, you have universe B, customer B, and it continues on. And they don't just have their own universes within the customers, but also within the industry. So the banking industry is completely different from the automotive industry. So that's also something that I find highly exciting, because it's not, well, just one universe, but I get to explore like dozens of universes now. But it's really different from being internal to a client to being external to a vendor. Of course, well, let's face it, dress code is different, behavior is different, but also the adventures that you can do are different. Now, I'm mainly in manufacturing area, so I don't get to travel to Paris, London, Zurich, etc. I get to go to Buttenwiesen, Mulfingen, and the smaller production sites within Germany. But still, it's just wonderful to meet dozens and hundreds of wonderful people out there who are customers.
Yeah, no, got it. Regarding the transition now, what role, or when you reflect on it, your experience you gained at the client, kind of, what impact or what benefit did it have for your job as a solution consultant?
Oh, understanding. So I've felt that pain, I've lived that life, and I can really easily relate to challenges that my customers tell me about. So of course, mainly in IT areas, I also have customers in other areas. But if you're talking about IT, it's like this, yeah, I've been there, I've done that. And of course, as I've lived through that, I also found or was consulted myself on solutions for similar problems. And of course, that's for me also the value that I want to bring to my customer, to say, okay, I know you have a challenge, I feel your pain, but here's the solution. Just, try it on for size. Maybe it helps. If not, let's talk again.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is just great, because sometimes you might think, okay, I have experience in this industry, right, or in this job, and it doesn't make sense to change, to move, to explore different opportunities, different paths, right? But at the end, and I just had a conversation with a colleague about it, skill-based recruiting, right? So it's not just at the end, it's about the skills, right? And when I was hired, I remember when I had my conversation with Alia Kata, my manager at the time, she was saying, because on paper I had less experience that she was looking for, and she said, when I asked her, why did you decide for me? Hire for attitude and train for skills, right? So I think we both are quite a good example for that, and I mean, there might be people out there who might think differently, but I think that ServiceNow has this mindset, opens much more opportunities for ServiceNow in terms of hiring the talent that keeps them, not keeping them, but exceed the impact ServiceNow can have, kind of, right?
Yeah, it's exactly that. If you want something, show the drive, and the manager will always pick the persons who have the drive rather than people who just only have the knowledge. I mean, I think also that makes sense because you don't just want to have someone who's like, checking boxes, but every employer today also wants someone who wants to bring the business ahead. And you can do that if you have the passion for it.
Yeah, I'm curious. I mean, was the manager role you just started kind of obvious for you when you started ServiceNow, or did that develop over time, or how was that?
No, funnily enough, funny you should mention that. No, not really though. I used to be a manager at my previous position, and I turned around and said, no, I don't want to, have the people perspective, but I want to have the customer perspective. So I restarted, so to speak, as an individual contributor, as a solution consultant, and tried to just, inspire my customers.
Yeah.
But more.
No,
No?
I just wanted to underline it. I mean, or it still inspires me, because when people are not having a mindset in terms of it's all about the title, it's all about hierarchy or whatsoever, right? I mean, as you mentioned, and I wouldn't call it, for example, taking a step back to go forward or something. It's just gaining from a different perspective, right? It's not a step back. It's not going down or whatsoever, because you will grow as a person, and that's what it's all about. And as you grow as a person, the company benefits from it, right?
And let's face it, it's also it's about what you want and what you feel best at that point. And I really wanted to go back from people focused to I wanted to talk to customers again. That was my old, well, not again. I wanted to talk to customers. Full stop. That was my focus then. So I had I had the idea of it covered on my side then, but I really wanted to go out and inspire customers about the value of ServiceNow, because that's what I learned at my previous employer. Amazing platform. But more and more, I realized that inspiring my customers is not like the end of the road. And now my newest goal really is to inspire my team, to inspire customers. So the leverage is different. It's not necessarily that I know I have a title again or something, but it's really still about the work, the platform, the culture, the team. And I just have a bigger leverage now. I can inspire my team to inspire customers, so I can achieve more in the end out in the world. Still a platform enthusiast, so I think that's visible.
Yeah, but this might have then also a positive impact as you're now a manager. I mean, I just can talk from my personal point of view, right? I would like to have a manager who provides me a vision, who leads with empathy, someone I look up to, right? And for example, in your case, what you just mentioned, I mean, I would follow you anyway, but the thing is, your enthusiasm, your genuine interest in the product, in the platform, right? This transfers automatically something to the team, but basically also to me, right? And this is this is a differentiator, to be honest.
Yeah. But that's also the reason why I wanted to come to ServiceNow then, once I had that idea put in my head.
Yeah.
Also why I've been so happy since. I think what makes ServiceNow unique is really the team and the culture. So the team is amazing, of course. And, not just mine, they're the best, but all the teams. All the teams are amazing. I think what ServiceNow is almost uniquely, there's not many employers who actually achieve that, but ServiceNow is able to attract different talent, very diverse talent, but amazing people. So there's no one in between of my colleagues, of colleagues in other teams that I've seen within ServiceNow, where I actually say, okay, yeah, he's just checking boxes. They all want to get ahead. They want to support each other. They want to inspire the customers. And this is something where I'm stunned almost every day to see how the team and the culture is working within ServiceNow. And that's also one of the biggest reasons why I thought I want to be part of that. Also on the management side, I want to continue coaching, growing, inspiring my team to have that impact, not just with the customers, but also internally.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if you would be open for people from different teams to join your team.
Absolutely.
But as you mentioned, I mean, you're a manager now, right? So you are probably also hiring for your team short, mid, or long term.
Yes.
What is it that you are looking in people then?
Maybe short intermission here. I am actually hiring.
Oh, yeah.
So, to our audience, if you want to apply, please do.
Okay, then let me rephrase the question. What are you looking in people?
Right. I think I've mentioned that already. So I have a few check boxes that I have to tick. The one is there's 2 open slots in my team. So I'm looking relieved to hire. But the one thing I really need to have is drive. Just someone who can show me and tell me that they want to do what I'm offering. So inspiring our customers, delve into the technology. So even as a solution consultant, I mean, you don't have to set up a printer or a complete network. No, that's not part of the job. But you have to be able to understand, on the one hand, the dependencies or the interconnections of the technology, and map that to the customer challenges and get them to see solutions or ways out of their, I don't want to say misery, out of their challenges. But really just to support customers, and of course do that with the help of ServiceNow. And I'm looking really for people who are open-minded, who can who fit into the culture. Great talent, and I'm not concerned about that. So we have plenty of great talent available already, and just someone who can actually convince me that they want to achieve better together with ServiceNow.
Yeah, no, this is a great summary, and maybe there are people out there who are feeling inspired and would like to apply. Yeah, I would also encourage to connect on LinkedIn. I think networking, having this mindset, is also crucial, especially nowadays. As we are coming to our
absolutely, come find me on LinkedIn. I'm always happy to make new connections, and if you have any questions there, please just send me a message and let's talk. Very important.
Perfect. As we are coming to the end of our conversation, Tatjana, what can we expect from you? What's coming up for you? Give us a little bit sneak peek.
A little bit sneak peek. That's actually a difficult question since I've just reached my midterm goal like 8 days ago.
Okay, how are you tackling then? Maybe not tackling, but how are you dealing with the first month into the new job? How do you want to set up yourself for success?
That's a loaded question.
The best question for the end. Hey?
No, really, no, it's not a loaded question. But the one thing that I definitely want to build now is a stable and reliable basis in the middle of my own universe. So on the one hand, I know my team, they know me, that is very good. So we don't have to go through the storming, norming, forming phases. But of course, there is a change in the team. So I'm the new manager, so we will have to get together, sit down and just, agree on how we want to do that, how our future looks like. And I'm so excited and so happy to just be able to coach my team, and I mentioned it before, to inspire my team, but also to define exactly what our year 24 will look like. And of course, I'm not a big fan of micromanagement, etc. So I really want to give my team the not the consciousness, the what do you call it when you're convinced and you can do that? Self-reliability.
Empowerment.
Yeah, exactly. The empowerment to also reject my idea. not that I'd be happy about that, but I want to give them, I want to empower them to discuss with me things that they like, things they don't like, especially, and so that we grow together. Yeah.
And for that,
long term, let's see. I don't think I'm going to be CEO, but then again, once I say that, why not?
Let's dream big. That's a good one. But yeah, I mean, and the basis for having a team that feels empowered to say no or to provide different perspectives is trust, right? Yeah. So for whatever comes for you, fingers crossed, good luck. I'm sure that you will rock it. And I mean, as a colleague once said, you were hired for a reason. So let's end with that. And thank you again, Tatjana, for your time. It was a real pleasure having you here with us. And hope to see you soon in Munich again. Then for a good coffee.
Definitely. Wonderful office. I will have to visit soon. Thank you, Christian, for having me.